Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, before this, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Kamaluddin. My name 20186066. I'm from class B2. Here, in this occasion, I would like to do an interview with my English teacher. This project to complete my language and testing assessment course. Okay. Before I directly start my interview to my teacher, I would like to introduce him to you. His name is Mr. Sholeh Agus Ribowo. He is from Bataal Barat, and he has been teaching here for about 10 years. Okay. Good morning, sir.
Okay, good morning.
Before this, how are you so far?
Alhamdulillah, fine.
Okay, thank you. In this moment, I would like to ask your time to do my task. It's about language and testing assessment course. Okay, here I have some question that I will ask to you, and I hope you will answer it.
Okay.
As you know. Okay. 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 For number one, have you ever made your own test for your student?
Of course, I made it by myself.
Okay. What kind of test that you ever make for your student?
Exactly for the question for my students, it must made by me by myself is about mid test and final test for the first and the second class.
First and second class. So that's test for junior high school, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually for the subclass of junior school, it's made by a group of the teacher who has teaching in this school.
Okay. Okay. And then the second question is, have you ever considered about its reliability, validity, practicality, and income analysis?
Okay. For validity and practicality, we always test our student. Exactly for me myself, I will test all my students for the first and second class by using whatever I have taught to them. Sometimes we use only module for the school, but we made our own practice of our teaching language by our method. For example, in the module we always study about grammatical, for example. So when we do our test about the grammatical that in the module, but by our own language or by our own way to take it as far as the student understand. Mean in 1 year, although we have many chapter or many module that we must do for 1 year, but we take as a reliable. For example, what is the connection number 1 and number 2? Sometimes number 1 is connection with module number 7, so we make it by ourselves. And when we do the test, so we test our students by using the lesson that we have taught to them.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And then the next question is, so have you ever conducted a tryout for your own mid test, and then how do you conduct it?
Exactly for tryout as like the subclass is never, but for the first and the second class tryout that I mean, before I give a question for the student in the mid test or in final test, usually I have occasion with the student on 1 or 2 meeting to practice our teaching method by using oral examinations. I make a quiz or I ask them about review all the lesson by asking for the student and they answer my question, or sometimes they giving occasion to the student ask each other and then I only judge which one is the true or which one is false, and we make good time for giving them new lessons or giving addition for the lesson or make it correct for the lesson that before.
Okay. Then okay, thank you, sir. And next question. So how do you know the reliability, validity, practicality, and item analysis for the test that you use for your student?
Usually, before and after I do my test, I always meet with all the teacher who has a group in this school for making a question together or make some a question to make reliable with all the students. Because I only teach one and the second and the first class for the gentlemen, so I consultation or make some discussion with who teach in the ladies too. So we make compare which one the lesson that's reliable for them, and then I try to give her my questions and correct my question to the students. And sometimes I do the same time for if she has some test, for example, for her students, I try to correct or I try to make give her some motivation, to give her some correction, which one is suitable for the student. So for validity and others, it's not by own myself, but I try to consultate, I try to discuss with another teacher who has a teach in the same class, although in different classes.
Okay, great. Okay, then what is your opinion about good test?
Good test, as I understand, the good test for me myself, exactly for my student, is always the test that first must suitable with the lesson that we have taught to the student. The second, by giving some enlargement, for example, for addition words or addition lessons, to test that how far the students study without us, for example. And after that, giving some motivation and giving some correction, maybe most of the students didn't understand our lesson. So after testing, we have some review for the student who didn't get the perfect values for our test.
Okay. So it means, by your opinion, have a good test. It must be suitable with the lesson that have before.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Then the last question is that, okay. According to you, what should a teacher do to have a good and appropriate test for his or her students?
Exactly. To make it, for the first teacher doing is make a planning what must he or, for example, myself, I must plan that what I want to teach with the test directly. For example, I want to teach this. So I prepare how many tests to make it understand. The test for the first is for checking my students understand. Yeah. The second test is for review what they have understand before, or the last is how far they study without me. For example, they want to study from another teacher or from internet from their course.
Is it all, sir?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, finally, I have done my interview. Okay, wait for a moment.
Right.
Okay, finally, I have done my interview with my English teacher. Thanks for Mr. Sholeh.
Okay, thank you
For your time. Okay, I think enough for my interview today with my English teacher. I do apologize if you found any mistake from my video, from my interview. And last, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.